All right, the first thing we're going to talk about here is the circumcenter, which if you recall is the intersection of a triangle's perpendicular bisectors. Okay, so we're going to construct those. I'm going to use a compass. If you would like to use the note card method or the folding method, more power to you. So remember, for the perpendicular bisectors, using a compass, you adjust your compass so it's slightly more than half. Draw yourself an arc. And without adjusting the size, you move that point to the other end of that side, and we're going to draw the same size arc. And as you can see, I'm at exactly half, meaning I need to readjust my size. So I'm going to try that again using this size, moving over to this end of the triangle, and then drawing a second arc. And I'm going to move that down a little bit there. And let me delete these two smaller arcs so we can see what happened there. And notice these two intersect way down here. So I'm going to start there and then all the way up through here. I'll make sure that's going through the correct spots. All right, there we go. And that segment is a perpendicular bisector to that lower side, meaning it cuts it into two pieces, and this is perpendicular to that side down there. Okay, excuse me. Let's go ahead and do that same process on the other side on the left here. So adjust your compass so it's a little more than half. Draw yourself this arc. Move to the other side of that, other end of that segment, and draw a second arc. All right, so if we draw a segment through this point here where they intersect, straight through, again, that segment does two things. It is perpendicular to this side, and it cuts it into two congruent pieces. All right, one more to go here. We're going to move our compass to the third side. Adjust it so it's a little more than half. Draw yourself an arc. Move to the other end. Draw yourself a second arc. And where those two intersect, we're going to use our ruler or straight edge to draw a line. So from this point where they intersect way down here and extend it so those 3 points, those 3 lines intersect at this point of concurrency. All right, so just one more thing here. This is also a perpendicular bisector. So it turns out this point here we call the circumcenter has a very unique characteristic. If we were going to measure that point to each of these vertices, so what I mean from that point to this vertex, that point to this vertex, and that point to this third vertex, we know that those are all the same. So in other words, the incenter is equidistant to the vertices of the triangle, or the corners, if that makes more sense to you. There is also a third set of, there's another set of facts about that. We haven't talked too much about this, but if you were going to find the circumcenter of an acute triangle, it turns out that it would be inside. If you were going to find the circumcenter of a right triangle, the circumcenter would be on the hypotenuse of that right triangle. And lastly, as shown in this picture, if you're finding the circumcenter of an obtuse triangle, it's outside that triangle. All right, the second point of concurrency that we talked about so far is that incenter, which is the intersection of a triangle's just kidding. We just did perpendicular bisectors. It's the intersection of the angle bisectors now. All right. And these we do need to use a compass. So if you haven't used a compass yet, get one handy. We're going to take that compass and construct the 3 angle bisectors of this triangle. So put the point on one vertex, draw an arc, move to the intersection point, draw a little arc inside, move to that second intersection point, and draw yourself another little arc. Where those two make an X, or where they cross, we're going to draw from that vertex through that X our angle bisector. All right, like how that looks. We're going to fix that a little bit here. All right, that looks a little better. All right, so that segment has cut this angle into 2 congruent angles. Okay, move your compass to another vertex. Pick this one here. Draw yourself an arc and move to an intersection point. Draw another little arc and move to that other side, other intersection point, drawing another arc. Okay, so you can draw in this segment from this vertex through that X. And there's your second angle bisector. And last but not least, we're going to take the compass, put it on this 3rd angle down here. Draw one more arc, move the point to that intersection, draw a little arc, and then move it to this other intersection point here, and draw another little arc like so. Okay, so our 3rd angle bisector, notice, is going to do something interesting. So from here through that X, why that changed colors? It's got to be purple. All right, from that vertex through that X, we're going to draw that 3rd angle bisector. Okay, now if you do this correctly, you should notice that these 3 intersect at this point here, and we call that point the incenter. Incenter is a little different than the circumcenter, and the main difference there is that it's not equidistant to the vertices, it's equidistant to these 3 sides. So the distance from that incenter to this side, the incenter to this side, and the incenter to this side are all the same. Now that means that this distance, and this distance are all perpendicular from that point to the opposite side. So if you want to be equidistant from the sides, you would create the incenter of a triangle. So that's its main characteristic, is that it is equidistant. It's equidistant to each side of the triangle. And secondly, it's never going to be outside. It's actually always inside of the triangle, hence the name, the incenter.